All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to do a tag team tonight with that clicker thing so I can wander because I'm a wanderer. What a pleasure to be here in Cedar Rapids. I flew from Atlanta, the busiest airport in the world, one of them, landed in Cedar Rapids and instantly went, what a difference. This beautiful, mellow, relaxed community compared to where I live is amazing, which I'm originally from New York. But I love it here in Iowa. It's my third time here. Should come more, don't you think? Should come more. Pleasure. And we have a lot to cover. We're going to have fun this evening. Would you like to have some fun this evening? Good. We are going to have some fun. So Dr. Janet and I, she's going to be my clicker over there. So we're going to have to coordinate our skills. So are you ready? We're going to test it. There it is. So we're going to talk about raising healthy families, health and longevity, living at 100% for 100 years. You're going to learn why that's important as the night goes on. A lot of you already know why it's important. That's why you're here. And, you know, when we say 100% for 100 years, that's literally being 100% through every phase of life. So if you're in the womb, healthy in the womb, being born, newborn babies, being healthy, 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, health all along the way. And we have seen in this country, and we've seen it more in this country than around the world, where we are being harmed in so many ways by the things that we do, the policies that we have, the procedures that are done. And that is not human potential. That's not what it's supposed to be like. So we're looking at 100% for 100 years. And just to give you an idea about my background and history, this is really who I am. Okay? This is me. People ask me now, they'll say, Doctor, this is when I was 15 years old. People ask me all the time when they see this picture, they say, Dr. Plasker, what happened to the afro? And I tell them, now I wear it on the inside, not on the outside. And this is the age when I got my first chiropractic adjustment, because I am a chiropractor. I've been in practice 40 years now. And I didn't know anything about chiropractic. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be an orthopedist. I wanted to go into healthcare of some kind because I was an athlete. I was playing football, and I got harmed one day when some big guy, much bigger than me, just snuck up on me on a trap play, didn't even know what that meant, and knocked me about 10 yards sideways and knocked me out. The next thing I knew, I woke up in the hospital. The doctors were doing x-rays and checking me in all kinds of ways, and after a while, they looked at my mother, and they looked at me, and they said, excuse me, Mrs. Plasker, and you afro-headed dude, you have a back injury, don't play for 30 days. Little did I know that I had a fracture in my back. I broke my back. And they said, take these drugs, don't play for 30 days. His words were, take these drugs and don't play for 30 days. Now, I was a typical 15-year-old. My listening skills were terrible. So what I actually heard him say was, drugs equal don't play. That's what I heard. It's not what he said, but that's what I heard. So I looked at my mom and I said, I'm playing. No matter what, I'm playing. You got to find an answer. I'll do anything to play. So the next day, we made a phone call. She made the phone call to Dr. Ernie Landy, Spring Valley, New York. Went to see him. He was a chiropractor. And he laid me down on the table. He examined me, and he gave me my first adjustment at 15. I knew in that split second that I was going to be a chiropractor. I got up off the table and played that afternoon without any pain. Changed my life forever. Literally in that split second, something clicked, not just in my spine, but something clicked in my mind. That drugs equal don't play, and this for 30 days, and here I'm going back on the field this afternoon. I want to do this with my life. And I've never looked back. It's been a passion ever since. And so I think back about that time now because these were the days before opioids were like the thing. They were the pre-opioids, the hydrocodones or the Percocets or those types of medications. And that's what I was going to get on. And I realize now, looking back, man, I could have been an addict. I could have been an addict. Nobody plans to be an addict. How many people go in for knee surgery, dental surgery, shoulder surgery, toe surgery, whatever it is, and they get that medication? I remember I went in one time for a root canal, and they said, here, take your opioids. Take them with you. Here's your prescription. I said, I don't want these things. And they said, no, take them, take them. I was like, no, I don't want them. Then I went out to the receptionist at the counter and said, here's the drugs the doctor wants to see. I said, no, how many times do I have to say no? And I realized how I could have, way back then, I would have been like, sure, I'll take some, and I need another appointment in 4 weeks. That could have been me. And so I feel so blessed and so lucky in so many ways that I had that wake-up call so early in life. And so then I went on to have a good career in football, high school football anyway. I became captain of our team. And what was really interesting about this and why this picture is so relevant to me and to you and to the community is because my coach, his name was Chuck Scarpula, Coach Scarpula. The kid that you see pictured with me over to the right, that was Coach Scarpula's son, who is now Dr. Chuck Scarpula. He's a chiropractor also. What happened as a result of what happened with me and a couple of other people on our team is that our entire team started getting adjusted. We all started going to the chiropractor, not just for crisis care, not just because we had pain, not just because we were injured, but because of performance-based care, lifestyle care, performance-based care, to function at a higher level, and we did. We never had a major injury after that. We played at a very high level. And so not only did that Scarpula become a chiropractor, but like 6 or 7 kids on our team also went and became chiropractors because of the difference that it made for our team. And I look back, and then I got into practice. So I graduated. I went to school in 1982 to 1985. I got to school. I was 19 years old. I graduated when I was 23. I opened my first practice when I was 23 years old. And I was fired up because what did I want to do? What helped me? Football, right? I wanted to help athletes. I wanted to help football players. So I get into practice, and all of a sudden, I start seeing babies and kids and families and sports teams and all these people because we were telling the story just the way that Dr. Jean and Dr. Janet talked to you about the importance of a healthy nervous system, and all we did was talk about it. Too many doctors just don't talk about it. They're too busy. They don't talk to their people. That's one thing what I love about the 100-Year Lifestyle is you could read about it while I'm not around, while we're sleeping. You could watch it. You could listen to it. You could do exercises for yourself to make yourself better. And you could do it when we're not around because it's important that you understand, that people understand. And when people understand and then they have an experience of it, it changes their life forever because they realize, wow, what an amazing body we have. Self-healing, self-regulating, self-correcting. In fact, think about this for a minute. For some of you, the most amazing thing is that your body survives you. Think about it. Think about the stress, the choices that we make. It's a miracle that your body is surviving some of the things that you have done, that we have all done. And so seeing all of those people, 40 years in practice, was amazing to me. And then raising my own kids. These are not their real noses, by the way. But we had fun as a family, but it wasn't always fun because my oldest son to the right there, we raised our kids, listen carefully, talk about being a rebel, right? And talk about standing up and speaking out. Very early on, I learned in chiropractic school and the extra study that we did. We learned about the body. We learned about vaccines. We learned about health. We learned the truth about the immune system. And we raised our kids without drugs, without shots, without pediatricians. We raised our kids. No shots, no drugs, no pediatricians. Occasionally, very rarely, maybe with all 3 kids over their entire lifetime, maybe 3 visits, maybe 5 visits. This is the argument that my wife and I have. Was it 3? Was it 5? I don't know. I don't remember. But why didn't we go? It's not because we were mad at them or anything like that. We just realized that, you know what? We thought if we had a scale, a tape measure, and some common sense, then why would we need to go? Because we weren't going to get those shots. The books that are out now, like new books that are out now, written by Kennedy and Booker, I think his name is, Cory Booker, and amazing people, doctors writing all these books about the things that there were books in 1985, 86, 82 about all of these same things with the same statistics just confirmed again 30, 40 years later. This is not like, it's maybe new to you, but it's not new. We knew all of this, but nobody talked about it. We have to talk about it. We can't be shushing each other up. We have to talk. We have to communicate. We have to care about each other. We have to love each other. And so we raised our kids this way, and it made such a difference in their life. There was one problem, though. Because they didn't get sick, they almost never missed school, which made them mad at us. Because a lot of their friends would be constantly missing school. It's like, why can't I miss school? Joe missed school, Mary missed school, why can't I miss school? Well, let's just take a trip. So we started taking vacations. And like a lot of the homeschool moms here that are here and the people that are really taking charge of their children's education, looking out for their kids in that way, realizing that life experience is the best school. Giving kids experience is the best school. That's the 100-year lifestyle way. And so I watched in my young practice, I watched the autism rate right before my very eyes skyrocket in my practice. I got into practice in 1985. Almost never, can't even remember seeing an autistic kid pre-1986. And then all of a sudden, 1987, 88, 89, 90, I start to see all these neurologically damaged children. And the vaccine injured, chemically injured. We got to speak out. Something's wrong here. We have to band together. Somebody's got to, scream and shake people and wake them up, because the propaganda that was being delivered back then, just as bad back then as it is now. $1 billion a day, maybe $1 billion an hour, in all the different ways that it gets distributed. That's why we have to talk. We have to talk. We can't be afraid to talk. We have to speak. We have to share with love. We have to share compassion. And we saw it skyrocket. And I'll never forget, show you how naive I was, because I was a kid, right? 1986. I was 24 years old now, my first year in practice. Opened when I was 23. And we had a kid come in, and he was, I'm going to guess, I don't remember exactly, but I think he was 16. And he was about 6'4", 240. And his mom was about 5'6", 150. And he was severely autistic, neurologically damaged. And I'll never forget, he would be like this, holding his head and moving back and forth like this. And he would, such spontaneous movements that when they try to control him, he would knock the parents around. So do you think they needed care? Chiropractic care? Everybody got chiropractic care in that family. But it made me realize we have to speak out. We have to talk to each other. We have to share the things that we learn from each other. When we go to meetings like this or visit Gene and Janet or wherever we go, but we have to talk and we have to seek the truth when it comes to health and wellness, especially, as it relates to longevity. And the longevity story that changed my life, the patient that changed my life, was a man named Max. And at this point, this is like 1994, a long time ago. And I'll never forget this day, because this old man, 98 years old, comes into my office, crippled, broke, and alone. He was walking with his fingers mangled. He was shuffling his feet, bent over. Pain lines on his head. Like literally, I don't know if you've ever seen somebody where they were in so much pain that it was almost like it was etched in their skull. And this poor man, this beautiful soul, was truly suffering. So I said, he asked me this question too, which was the question that everybody asked me, but I didn't know the answer for him. He asked me, Dr. Plasker, can you help me? And I said, I have no idea. That's my Southern accent for you. I have no idea. I said, but as long as you're alive and breathing and there's life flowing over your nervous system, let's give it a shot. So I start to work with Max, giving him some light adjustments, very gentle. He was frail, very frail. So light adjustments. And wouldn't you know it, he starts to go from 4'6" maybe, and he starts to stand up straighter. There's an ease that comes over his body. The pain line on his forehead, the lines start to go away. Next thing I know, he's walking a little faster. And he's walking a lot faster, standing up straighter, moving. And he would come in, and he never missed. He loved coming in. So he would come in, we'd adjust him. He'd go up to the counter, he'd go up to the front, he'd take his crippled arthritic hand, stick it in his pocket of his wrinkled pants, the same pants that he wore every time, took out crinkled dollar bills, reached onto the counter where my assistant was, would drop the bills on the counter, say thank you to her, and schedule his appointment, come back. So he did this for a year, never missed an appointment. And then we fell in love with this guy because, again, he was a beautiful soul, beautiful spirit, and he was always alone. So it broke our heart. This poor, beautiful soul was always alone. So we would feed him. We'd give him rides sometimes. And we always waited for him. We knew when he was coming. So it was like, wow, Max is coming today? Cool, Max is coming today. Great, can't wait to see Max. So all of a sudden, something happens about a year in. Something happens that never happened before. Max misses an appointment. So we get concerned. Wasn't like him. So I send my assistant, tries to call him, no answer. We go to try and visit his home, no answer. So he's 99 years old. What do you think we're thinking? That he passed, right? So we say a little prayer for Max, say goodbye, and go about our business. Well, another year goes by. And Max is now over 100 years old. And guess who comes walking through the front door one day without an appointment? Go ahead and guess. I promise you'll get it right. Max, right? So Max comes in. So my assistant screams like she's seeing a ghost. Max! I'm in the back adjusting, and I hear Max. It's the only Max I know. So I'm like, Max? Max? So I get in high-speed, super adjusting mode, like, I'm like, I want to go see Max. So I clear out the rooms, and I go up to see Max, and there's Max at the front. And when I looked at him, and I'm approaching him, he really looked tired. His eyes were hollow. His skin was really pale, sagging. His bones were protruding through his cheeks. And I looked at him, and it kind of broke my heart. And I said, Max, where have you been? We missed you so much. And he looked up at me, and like he had done so many times before, he grabbed my hand, shook my hand, said, thank you, Dr. Plasker, thank you, and died. I look at my assistant, I say, call 911, call 911. She calls 911, the ambulance comes, takes him away, he was gone. Literally, when he leaned over, rigor mortis had already set in. His body was hard. His spirit, it's almost like I could see it leave his body, like shoo. The ambulance takes him away. never to be heard from again, except for the fact that I couldn't get it out of my head. Oh my God, Max, I can't believe that just happened. Like once the shock wore off and I started to think about it, wow, I wonder if if he knew he was going to live to be 100 when he was 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, or even 90. How would he have lived his life differently so that he didn't get there crippled, broke, and alone? So I started to ask that question, hey, if you knew you'd live to be 100, how would you change your life today? Hey, if you knew you'd live, because I'm thinking, I'd never seen a 100-year-old person before. I'm like, how many 100-year-old people could there possibly be? I start to do the research, and they're everywhere. It's one of the world's fastest growing group. This was 1990s. Still one of the world's fastest growing group percentage-wise. So I started to ask people the question, hey, if you knew you'd live to be 100, how would you change your life today? And the answers that I got were all across the board, literally. People would say to me, I don't want to live to be 100. I don't even want to be 80. Come on, my grandma's 82 and she doesn't know me. She can't move. Grandpa's become a grouch, can't move. Now, he's retired 20 years ago, hadn't done a damn thing since. I mean, I literally got answers all across the board. And I also got answers like, you know what, that would be really cool. If I had my health, that would be cool. If I had the money, that would be cool. I love my work. If I was working and I could be contributing, that would be cool. I like to travel. I like to study the map, and I'm into politics, even though it drives me crazy. So the answers were all across the board, a giant spectrum everywhere. But here was the one thing. Everybody talked about it. Everybody, I don't want to be. Well, I want to be. Well, I don't. I do. That's the way it was, all across the board. But people would talk about it. So that's the question for you. If you knew you'd live to be 100, how would you change your life today? And so you think about 100-year-old people, still one of the fastest growing groups percentage-wise. They have lived through, a 100-year-old person has lived through multiple epidemics, multiple pandemics. And people say to me, well, but Dr. Plasker, that's not going to happen now. It's too stressful out here. Wait, just wait. Hold that thought. They've lived through multiple epidemics, multiple pandemics, major wars, World War I, World War II, Cuban Missile Crisis. You're still here. The Great Depression, 23 recessions, and here's the craziest one, 25 presidential elections they've lived through. And so it's gotten to the point where so many people are turning 100 today, it's like, what's the big deal? They're talking about it, like, oh, it's no big deal, everybody's doing it now. Today it's popular, everybody's doing it. And we're surrounded by the evidence. How do you know? There's assisted living centers on every corner filled with people who had no idea they were going to live this long. So they didn't know how to take care of themselves to ensure quality of life as they age. And that's the most important concept I think about tonight. When we look at aging, we look at people who say, I don't want to be like that. We have to understand that this is the first generation in history. We, you and I, we are the first generation in history that is getting the advance notice that whether we like it or not, want to or not, regardless of our opinion about it, we will probably live longer than we ever thought. So why not get there in style with health and vitality? Why not make the changes that you know that you need to make? And so you think about the evidence. And this I just got this morning or yesterday. Did you know that the U.S. centenarian population, that's the word for 100-year-old people, the United States 100-year-old people, centenarian population, is expected, this is from just last year, this report came out, is expected to quadruple by 2050, over the next 30 years. So I'm just wondering, my Cedar Rapids and surrounding area friends, who are those people? Just curious. Who are those people? Ready? Go like this. Everybody hold your finger up like this. Okay, now try this. This is a highly neurological activity. Now watch, ready? Go like this. Okay, watch, ready? Now go and point it to one of your neighbors. Go ahead, keep going, keep twirling. Go ahead, tell them, you are one of those people. Tell them, you are one of those people. Wait, keep going, ready? Keep pointing, and then wait, here's the tricky part. This requires serious neurological function. Ready? Now do that, keep it going. Now you ready? Yeah. You are one of those people. You are those people. So watch, whether you like it or not, want to or not, you could certainly have an opinion. It is still the United States of America. It doesn't change the reality that all the statistics are in, that whether you like it or not, want to or not, you will probably live longer than you ever thought. The question really is, will you get there in style with health and vitality? And everybody's talking about it. They're even having centenarian days in school. So here's a tricky question, but not really. Find the children of the chiropractors in this picture. Two on the left. Yeah, absolutely. Because that's the way that it's supposed to be. So then you ask the question, when it comes to aging, since we are the first generation in history that is getting this advance notice, who's going to lead us there? And how are they going to do it? And if the current leadership, what is the result of the current leadership's care? In this country, different than almost every other country, because we have the worst life expectancy, one of the worst. We have one of the worst health spans. So you say the allopathic world, the pharmaceutical industry, what is the result of their leadership over the last 30, 40, 50 years? And you look on every corner and you see assisted living centers filled with people rotting away, not living. And they are not rotting away because of their age. It is not about the number. It is about choices. It is about chemicals in the environment. It is about massive increases of injections of aluminum and mercury and all kinds of other toxins, formaldehyde, glyphosate. And we have the sickest generation of children ever in the history of the world, literally. And going back to that big autistic kid that I talked to you about, my naivety to the whole situation, I didn't realize that neurologically damaged kids grow up to be neurologically damaged adults. I mean, I know beautiful people that thought they were doing the right thing. They did what the doctor told them to do. They did what the CDC told them to do. And then they were harmed. They were mandated to do it. And then they were harmed and abandoned. And for many, it's a life sentence with no help. They were abandoned. No wonder, finally, we are revolting in so many ways against the propaganda. It's our time. It is our time. This is a quality of life issue. You know, when you look at the statistics, do you know that life expectancy in the United States has gone down for the first time? Biggest drop, I should say, the biggest drop since World War II. It's actually just now starting to tick up. But just a year ago, it was the biggest drop since World War II. And my Iowa friends, can we talk? Can we talk? What happened in World War II? a world war, and a Holocaust. Think about that. Exactly. So here we are now in 2025, and we're seeing the results of this COVID crime. The Pfizer papers, how many of you have seen the book, The Pfizer Papers? You're going to need to go lift weights to lift this book. It's like 500 pages, and if you don't like to read, don't worry. It's got lots and lots and lots and lots of pictures and graphs. And it reports all of the criminality of this. And watch, we cannot stay silent. We have to take care of each other. We have to become, all of us, have to become strong voices and leaders. We do. We all have to be strong. And it doesn't matter if you want to, you don't have to, but the world needs you. Your community needs you. Your community needs you. Because we are seeing a grassroots movement happening like I've never seen this in my lifetime. I remember when I was in school, 1982 to 1985, in Atlanta, Georgia, there were a lot of protests against the mandated vaccines, believe it or not, because there was a group called NVIC, National Vaccine Information Center, amazing group. Barbara Loe Fisher, she had a child that was injured by a vaccine, and she became an activist. And there were protests because they passed a law. They were trying to pass a law that ended up passing called the Childhood Vaccine Safety Act or something like that. I forget the exact name, which eliminated all the liability from the drug companies. That's when the skyrocketing of vaccine mandates and vaccine production and the schedule, the amount of shots on the schedule, that's when it started to skyrocket. And that's when the harm skyrocketed tremendously. And so now we talk about longevity. We have an opportunity. We're seeing the results of all of those years of decline and poor aging. And now we're saying, okay, well, how can we do it differently? How do we do it differently now? And what's interesting, when I wrote the 100-Year Lifestyle and it came out, the first book came out in 2007, and we asked the question, do you want to live to be 100? Almost nobody said yes. It's like, I don't want to live to be 100. But now what we're realizing, and I feel like in a lot of ways we contributed to this shift. People saying, yeah, you know what? If I had my health, I would. If I had the money, I would. If I had purpose in my life, I would do it. I would do it. So if you knew you'd live to 100, how would you change your life today? Because it's really all about change. And here's a big concept shift. This is, I think, just flip your head around with this one. Because the allopathic world and the assisted living center world, their philosophy is, and their idea about this is, oh, well, you're just living on borrowed time. It is not borrowed time. It is birthright time. From the moment of conception, when the sperm and the egg met, the blueprint for your longevity possibility was sealed. And then it's a matter of, do you optimize that potential throughout life or not? So it's not borrowed time, it's birthright time. And so every generation, so what will your quality of life be like? Now we're having senior games where they're running and setting records, and 100-year-old people are running, and you see, and here's the other thing about this. Nobody talks about this. This is so important. This is the natural immunity generation. This centenarian 100-year-old generation that's booming as a population. This is the natural immunity generation. They were not vaccinated in their formative years. So when you understand that and you see the shift and the neurological damage that's taking place, no wonder, thank God, people like Kennedy, Del Bigtree, the High Wire, Children's Health Defense, 100-Year Lifestyle, MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. This is why it's got so much traction, because the evidence is everywhere. And it's time for change. And it's time for leadership. All of us, individuals, in our communities and our families, to become strong leaders in this movement. So if you knew you'd live to 100, how would you change your life today? There's a form on your table. You don't have to fill it out now, but take it with you if you want to. Dr. Janet's got healthy longevity packages that she's got there that are 100-year lifestyle healthy longevity packages. They're available. I think they're available. Some of them are available tonight. You can order them online if she runs out. It includes the book. It includes a guidebook, a workbook. It includes an audio book and a resource page. And if you like what we're talking about, get it and work it with your family and talk about it. Because you're going to find there's a lot of changes that need to be made. Changes that you need to make when you go to the grocery store. Changes when you go to the farm. Changes when you wake up in the morning. Habits. What do you do? What do you eat? How do you think about your day? Do you retire or do you find some new purpose and meaning, something to keep you motivated to get you up in the morning? There's a lot to talk about. What's exciting is when you really start to talk about it, everything around you starts to change. And all of a sudden, you become a leader. You're like, man, what's wrong with you? What you been drinking? Nothing, man. I'm living my 100-year lifestyle. I'm not going back. I'm not riding away. I'm not going to do that. You know, I think about, and my father, God rest his soul, my father rotted away in a nursing home for 10 years. They put him on statin drugs. He had a heart attack in his late 40s, a mild heart attack in his late 40s. They put him on statin drugs, which have been shown with long-term use to increase life expectancy by a grand total of, I think it was 4 months. But it's destroying people's brains and destroying people's blood. And it's coming out finally. But it came out too late for my father. So he had a heart attack at 49. At the age of 67, with a healthy heart, but no brain, he ends up in a nursing home, Alzheimer's care, and he rots away for another 10 years. Not knowing his wife for 44 years, not knowing his children, not knowing his grandchildren. Healthy heart, no brain. Come on, we have to wake up and look around. You know, they tell us, they tell us, no, what we're seeing is not real. Don't believe them. We need to get to a point where we start to trust our innate intelligence. We trust our gut. We trust our instincts. We trust each other. When that happens, there's a book out. I love this book. It's called Gut Instincts. No, it's called Gut Feelings, The Intelligence of the Unconscious. Learning how to trust what we call in our chiropractic world our innate intelligence. It's amazing. So what do you start to do to live a 100-year lifestyle? What are the things that you can do? How are we doing so far, by the way? You glad to be here? Yes, glad to be here? How about a round of applause for Dr. Gina and Janet? They put a lot in, and everybody who helped put this together. So the first thing is to get vision, to start to get a vision for your extended life. So if you had all this extra time, what would you do with it? I used to watch Papa High, my wife's grandfather, the sweetest man. He lived to be 100. And I'll never forget, I got the galley, or the pre-printing of the book, my first book, on the day he turned his 100th birthday, December 7th. And it was his 100th birthday. And I said, Papa High, listen, you got to give me a quote for the book. You got to give me a quote. And he got chiropractic care. He was healthy. I'll never forget, my favorite Papa High story is when he came to visit in Atlanta. He was living in Florida. He got congestion in his lungs. So they were scared he had pneumonia. They took him to the hospital. They put in all the cords and needles and everything. And 24 hours later, he's like, get me out of here. And he ripped him out of his arm and walked out of the hospital. You couldn't keep him out. He was a spunky guy. Maybe that's what got him there. And I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not giving you medical advice, by the way. But what was cool about Papa High was he would get adjusted. He had a chiropractor, and he was purposeful. He had meaning. He would get up every day, and he had a card game. He had friends. He had a social life. And so he said to me, he says, Eric, I don't know what to say. Never in a million years did I think I'd live to be 100. I said, that's perfect, Papa High. That's the quote. See, but we're getting the advance notice, right? We are getting the advance notice that our parents and grandparents never received. What will we do with this information? How will we live differently? We have a homeschool course and it's a school curriculum, not just for homeschools. It's in schools. And why are we teaching it? Why are they teaching it? Because we're the first generation in history that's getting the advance notice. And these kids are seeing their aging parents and grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents suffer. And I'll tell you what really changed my life one day. I was in Dallas. I was speaking at it was at a business meeting for some of the top business leaders in Dallas. It was at the Four Seasons Hotel. And there was it was about this size room right here. And there was a little girl, it was all business people. But there was a young girl, like 14, 15 years old in the corner. And I could see her throughout my talk. Her energy kept pulling me. And every time I looked over, she had a tear coming down her eye. And she was touched by whatever I was saying, the stories, Max's story, et cetera. So after it was over, all these people started to come up to me, and they were buying books, and I was signing the books. And I could feel this little girl right over here, and she's like patiently waiting, just delicious spirit, just sweet as can be, but crying. So finally, I was like, hold on, guys. And I went to her. I said, are you okay, sweetie? What's the matter? She looked at me, and I'm going to preface this by saying, when I came out with the book, right, all the marketers of the book, the publishing companies that bought the rights to the book, they would say, oh, yeah, the target market is women between the ages of 40 and 60 and men between the ages of 40. The sandwich generation, those are the target market. Nobody else is going to be interested. Well, this little girl had changed my life. She looked up at me, and she told me something that I didn't even really think about. She said, Dr. Plasker, I said, why are you crying? She said, Dr. Plasker, what you said really touched me. My grandma is 85, and she doesn't know me anymore, and I love her so much, and she can't talk to me, and I can't talk to her anymore. And she went on and on and on. And I'm thinking to myself, this is affecting everybody. Everybody. And we're spending our great-grandchildren's inheritance trying to keep our elderly generation alive and rotting away because they didn't know they were going to live this long. I was in Bellevue, Washington. I was talking to this at the end, similar type talk, signing books at the end, and this little kid comes up to me, runs up to me. He says, Dr. Plasker, you changed my life today. I said, who are you? What do you mean I changed your life today? How old are you? 10. He says, my name is Nico. I'm 10. I said, Nico, how did I change your life today? And he stopped because he was like a ball of energy. He said, well, my grandparents died from cancer. This is a 10-year-old. Listen to my words here. My grandparents died from cancer, and I have been worried for years that I was going to die from cancer too. A 10-year-old worried for years. And then he looks up at me and he says, I'm not worried anymore. And he runs off. And then he comes back and he says, and I'm going to be a motivational speaker. And he runs off. So he sent me a YouTube video of his speech that night. He went home and made his first YouTube video. Literally, he put it in. It was on our website. I don't know if it's still up because he could have deleted that account because he was 10. But it was him giving a talk. And he's like, I heard the talk and I'm not worried anymore. It was amazing. And I realized this is touching everybody. And we need change. We need change. And we need to think differently about all of these things. And watch, some of you are going to be like, well, I don't want to change. Well, so when it comes to a new vision might require change. So if you look at on this sheet as an example, there's two things related to change. You can choose your motivation. You're either going to be crisis motivated or quality of life motivated. Crisis motivation is my clothes don't fit or I had a heart attack. Quality of life motivation is I want to live healthy and not rot away. I want to be healthy. I want to be strong. I want to travel. I want to do this. I want to have purpose. I want to contribute my wisdom. And so you choose your motivation. And at some point, your crisis motivation has to turn to quality of life motivation to be sustainable. So you get off the roller coaster. If you are just crisis motivated, you will be on a roller coaster. You have a crisis, you fix the crisis, you feel better, so you get another crisis. So you have something to do. So at some point, if you want to have a compelling vision and truly enjoy a sensational century, as we say, your vision needs to transform to quality of life. So having a compelling vision matters. So there are 3 life-changing principles of the 100-Year Lifestyle, which, by the way, I'm not going to have time tonight to get into everything. Okay, we have an hour and a half. I have a 4-hour seminar in front of doctors on Friday afternoon on this similar topic. I've done 12-hour seminars on it, 18-hour seminars on it. There's a lot. You can dig in with all the resources if you want to. I'm just going to give you some snippets tonight. So the 3 life-changing principles are, number 1 is, we call it the magnet principle. It's change is easy. It's thinking about change that's hard. Okay, why do we call it the magnet principle? Because if you have 2 magnets, and let's say the 2 north poles are touching each other, what do the magnets do? They force apart, right? They repel. So now watch. That's the law of magnetism. Like poles repel. So if I want to, and I'm really strong, I could try really, 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 really hard constantly to hold it together. But the second I let go, what happens? Why? Because that's the law of magnetism. You with me? Now watch. This is my favorite part. I love this. Ready? Watch. What if I flip one of the magnets around? And I put them even close to each other. What happens? They attract and stick. Now this is my really, really, truly favorite part. You ready? Now, instead of requiring energy to hold it together, it requires energy to pull them apart. Change is easy. Thinking about change is hard. That's the 100-Year Lifestyle magnet principle. So all you thinkers, commit to change. And watch, I love this. Watch this. You ready? I think I know the answer to this question. Raise your hand if you know you have at least one thing that you know that you need to change. Raise your hand. Okay, thank you for being honest. Okay? Now, that's what you know you need to change. So I'm not telling you what, because I know your spouse, partner, friend, whatever, they got 100 things that they want you to change, right? But how many of you have at least one thing that you really, truly know you need to change? Raise your hand high. Come on. Okay. How many of you have known that for at least a week? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you've known it for at least a week, okay? How many of you have known it for at least a month? Raise your hand. How many of you, a year? Raise your hand. 5 years, anybody? 10 years, anybody? I'm not going higher. So watch. It's not going away until you make the changes you know you need to make. Think about this. How many of you not making that change that you know you need to make is causing you some level of suffering? Raise your hand if it's causing you some level of suffering. Okay, can I tell you there's only one thing worse than suffering? Do you know what it is? Suffering for 100 years. Perpetual suffering. So how cool is it to know that it's in your choice? It's under your control. So at least you could do is take 100% responsibility for not changing. And then watch, when you make the change, every change that you make, that you know you need to make, every change that you make, how many of you would agree that it would make you healthier at 100 and bet your life better when you're 100? Guess what? Every one of those changes makes your life better today. Today. Which makes the next decade, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many you have, a much better time on this planet. Pretty cool, yes? Watch. And by the way, so how cool is that? Here's the response, by the way. When I say how cool is that, the answer is way cool. So let's try it. Ready? So you make the change. Now you enjoy a sensational century. How cool is that? It's way cool. It's way cool. It's way cool. It is. The second change principle, it's got two names. It's the persistence principle, and I call it the titration principle also. So here's how it works. So it's change comes one choice at a time. Think progress, not perfection. So let's play titration. How many of you know what that is? Any chemistry people? You know what titration is? All right, good. So here's titration. You ready? For those of you that don't know. You have a glass with a chemical. You have a dropper with a chemical. Okay? And what do? You drop, 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 nothing happens. 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 And one last drop, and what happens? Changes color, right? Okay, instantly changes color. All right, so here's the multi-million-dollar, 100-year lifestyle question. You ready? Which is the most important drop? All right, raise your hand if you think it's the first one. Okay, raise your hand if you think it's the last one. Raise your hand if you think it's all of them. It's all of them. Why? Because without one of them, nothing would have changed. It's not the first cookie that makes you fat. It's all of them. It's not the first cigarette that gives you lung cancer. It's all of them. All right, so the first cheesecake will make you fat. Okay, all right. But watch, that's also under your control. So it's also the persistence principle because you have to make those choices. And watch, change comes one choice at a time. Think progress, not perfection. So if you get off track, you just catch yourself and you get back on track with your next choice. There's an article on 100yearlifestyle.com. There's a lot of good content great content on 100yearlifestyle.com. If you don't get our newsletter, you could subscribe to our newsletter there. It's free. And you can go there to get a lot of information. But one of them is called The Movie of You. There's also one of our podcasts. So we have a podcast also. There's a podcast called The Movie of You. So what's the movie of you? You watch yourself like you're watching a movie. And then literally you catch yourself making the choice that is not the right choice for you and stop yourself midstream. We call it the midstream catch and make a different choice. There is no shortcut to change, by the way. There is no shortcut. You know, we're seeing a lot of people that have gotten on these medications for weight loss, and they are being harmed. Severely, severely harmed. And that's not a healthy 100 years, I can promise you that. That's a trade-off, serious trade-off. So that's the titration principle. And the last one, principle of change, the 100-year lifestyle change principle, is the compelling principle. And that's creating a compelling vision. Not my vision, your vision. You lay it out. Why do you want a compelling vision? You say, but I don't know what it is. Well, what do you think it is? Well, I don't know. Well, what do you think it might be? What could it be? If nobody was going to judge you and you didn't have to care what anybody thought, what would your vision be? What would you want to do? Where would you want to go? How would you want to live? How would you want your relationship to be the same or different or whatever? What would you want to learn? Who would you want to meet? What would you want to see? And just start making a list and see what comes up. Be like, damn, I didn't even know I wanted that, but that sounds good. And then you start to realize, you start to wake up with more energy, much more energy, because now you have a compelling vision. You know, what used to drive me, it used to hurt my heart to see some of the older people in my life, literally, because they did not have vision. So they'd wake up and they were like the perfect propaganda puppet. They wake up and they watch the 6 a.m. news and the 9 a.m. news and the 12 o'clock news and the 5 o'clock news and the 7 o'clock news and the 11 o'clock news, and then they go to sleep and do it again. They become propaganda puppets. I mean, how can you have a vision of your own if you're a propaganda puppet? And you get brainwashed. I mean, to me, I cannot even believe some of the people that I thought were highly intelligent people that do not have a brain anymore. They are literally robots. That's not 100-year lifestyle way. That is not the 100-year lifestyle way. So it's your vision. Make it compelling. Make it compelling. And you'll see how all of a sudden things that you never even imagined start to open up for you. Say, man, I thought I was done, man. I got another 20 years left now. Good ones. So there is an exercise. I'm going to take you through this. How am I doing on time, by the way, Janet? 7:10. And we go till when? 7:30? Wow. Okay, so is it okay if we stay till 11? But are we having fun? Is this fun? Okay, so thank you. Thank you. I think I'm going to have to start flying through a lot of this, okay? So there is an exercise on 100yearlifestyle.com. It's also on this form. It's called your Empire Formula. You can calculate your minimum potential years remaining. And why is this important? Because a lot of people, when you start to see the number of how many potential years that you have left, here are just some examples. I'm going to go through them with you. You can do this exercise later. Go ahead, one more. Yeah. All right, go back. Okay. So when you fill it out, it asks for what is the age of your oldest grandparent that ever lived or is still living. Let's say it's 90. And then it says, how old are you now, today? 50. I'm doing easy math. So you do 90 minus 50, that means you have 40 more potential years. That's what we know based on your genetics, which is not your maximum years, by the way. This is the minimum potential that we know of based on your family history. So what if your number was 90? I'm going to use 90 again, and you're 70. That means your empire is 20. What if your number is 90 and you're 10? That means you have 80 potential years left. So I don't want to go to school. I don't want to learn that. I don't want to. Well, what do you want to learn? Because find your passion, get great at it, and do it forever. I mean, I literally do not feel like I've worked a day in my life. I was blessed. I did not have to explore everything. I found something that was meaningful to me, and I committed to it. And my father didn't love the idea. He said, why don't you go become a different kind of doctor? It's like, no, this is what I want to do. Drugs equal don't play. I'm playing. I'm doing this. I didn't have to explore everything. I just knew that was what I wanted. So if you start to follow that passion and that lead, some of you are going to pick up habits that you dropped a long time, or hobbies, I should say, that you dropped. Some of you are going to pick up hobbies that you dropped years ago, pick them back up again and say, why did I ever stop doing this? I love this. And you'll start to feel the passion come back, the energy come back. You know, the interesting one of the really interesting ones that I saw here a couple of years ago, the person who was filling out the form was 87. And the oldest person in their family history was 74. So their number was minus 13. Why? Because they already outlived the oldest person in their family history. So why not you? So why not you? If they were good ones, why not you? And if you make these changes, how many of you, some of the changes that you're thinking about that you know that you need to make, how many of you know that those changes, if you made them, they would make you healthier? Raise your hand if you know that they would make you healthier. Okay, so watch. Healthier going in, healthier coming out. God forbid something ever happens to you. If you're healthier going in, you'll be healthier coming out. You'll avoid a lot of the problems that so many other people experience in life. You'll get less infections. You'll get less injuries. If you get them, you'll recover quicker. You'll need less surgeries or none. So why not make the changes that you know you need to make? We have a saying in the 100-Year Lifestyle, learn to love the things that are good for you and make them your new lifestyle. That's the 100-Year Lifestyle for you. You make it personal for you. And so I'm going to fly through the rest of the key messages of the 100-Year Lifestyle here just because of time. Okay, if you want to dig into all of this for yourself or for your children as a course or whatever, they have healthy longevity packages over there. If you want to get them, if we run out, you can order them. I don't even know what the price is. What is the price? $102 for the package. Yeah. So you can dig in if you want to. And if not, it's great being with you. I hope you were inspired tonight. So let's fly through the rest of these things, okay? So we're not going to need that, Janet, anymore, okay? So you can leave it on there. So the first thing, the next chapter, and these are kind of like by chapter in the book or sections of the book. So the next section is energy. So we all have a finite amount of energy, and you get to decide how you want to use it. So there's an exercise in there, and there's a podcast on it too. So you can go to our podcast and you can listen to it and listen to the one on taking a personal energy inventory. It's a very simple exercise. All you do is you keep track for a day, have a 100% conscious day, and you take notice of the things that drain your energy, take away your energy, make you tired, suck your energy, and the things that feed your energy, that give you natural, innate, positive energy. And then at the end of the day, you make that list and you substitute consciously energy draining activities, thoughts, or feelings for positive ones. And you do that every day for 30 days. Here's what's going to happen. You ready? At the end of the first day, you'll feel younger at the end of the day than you did at the beginning of the day, even though you're one day older. At the end of the first week, you're going to feel younger at the end of the week than you did at the beginning of the week, even though you're 1 week older. You'll feel younger at the end of the month, even though you're a month older. You'll feel younger at the end of the year, even though you're 1 year older. I'm 62 years old. I feel younger today than I did 25 years ago when I was 40 pounds heavier than I am now. And people say, Dr. Plasker, you lost so much weight. I said, no, I didn't. I didn't lose anything. It was never mine. It was never mine. I eliminated it. I changed my life. I changed my life. And that's kind of what we're talking about here. That is what we're talking about here. So energy. And then you make that personal energy inventory. You make that right side of the list, those energy gainers, you make that your new lifestyle. Okay, so energy. Your environment. Change your internal and external environment to support. How many of you know that there are things that if you change them in your environment, that you would probably enjoy your environment more? Yes or no? Okay, so make the changes that you know that you need to make. Some of them won't cost any money. Some of you, you're just going to throw some stuff away. You're just going to get rid of some stuff. And some of you, you're going to add some stuff. You'll add some flowers. You'll add some, change the colors, or you'll change a piece of furniture, or you'll throw out a bunch of garbage. Start to change your internal environment or your external environment, and then start to really work on the environment within your 2 ears, your brain. So energy, really important. Stop killing yourself. Change the bad habits, one day at a time, one choice at a time. Okay, there's a whole section in the 100-Year Lifestyle on stop killing yourself and changing habits and choices. And then there's an area about healthcare. And we've said this forever, and it's in the book, and it's in everything we do in the 100-Year Lifestyle. There is a healthcare hierarchy of the 100-Year Lifestyle that is completely different than how the rest of the world lives. Not the rest of the world, not my world. My world lives this way. Gene and Janet, their world lives this way. A lot of you are patients of theirs, members of their practice. You live this way. Here's how it's defined. It's self-care, healthcare, and crisis care. That's the healthcare hierarchy. Self-care first, healthcare second, crisis care last. Self-care, these are the things that you need to do for yourself that nobody can do for you. Nobody can breathe for you unless you're completely out of it and you're on a machine. Nobody can breathe for you. Nobody can sleep for you. Nobody can sweat for you. Sorry. These are things that you just need to do for yourself. It's self-care to keep you healthy. Healthcare. These are the things that you need to do for yourself that you can't do for yourself. So I'm a chiropractor. I'm on lifestyle care and performance-based care. I don't treat symptoms. I get checked on a regular basis no matter how I feel to keep me at the top of my game. I like that. I don't like the roller coaster. I don't like waking up not being able to do the things that I want to do because my body is not right. So my chiropractor is my primary healthcare provider. I have almost never been to an allopathic doctor. I will speak to a nutritionist, but I will avoid anything to do with medication if I have to, or other types of procedures. If I had to, I'm not a fool, I would do it. If it was life or death, I would do it. But other than that, literally, and I'm a chiropractor. My self-care, I have good posture. I exercise, I keep my core tight and strong, but I can't adjust my own spine. I can't balance out my spine and my nervous system. So my chiropractor does that. And I don't do it like this. It's not need it. It's not that. It's like literally high level. Try it. See how the world changes. We had a patient come in our practice. She was seeing another chiropractor. She was I'm on a maintenance plan, doc. I said, great, very good. How often do you like to get adjusted? She says, like every 3 weeks. I said, why do you go every 3 weeks? Because she says, like around 10 days, I start to feel bad and I really start to feel like I need it. So I asked her this question. This is like a very profound question. Are you ready? I said, well, what if you never felt like you needed it? She was like, wow, never thought of that. So now for her, it's every 10 days. She never feels like she needs it. She's so happy. She's off the roller coaster. She's off the roller coaster. I mean, roller coasters are fun if you choose them. But it's not necessary from this perspective. So self-care first, healthcare second, crisis care last. Then environment, lifelong learning. So listen, be a learner. Like dig into this. Really dig into this. If you like this, dig into it. Become an expert at it. Talk about it. Share it. If you like the information and you think it would make a difference for you for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, some of you, dig into it and see what it does for you. Be a lifelong learner on whatever you're passionate about. I like Italian wine. I'm becoming a lifelong learner with Italian wine. I don't drink too much of it, but I enjoy it. I like to share it with my friends. I like olive oil, Italian olive oil. I'm into Italy right now. What could I tell you? We have a YouTube channel, which we don't really put a lot of energy into. We're starting to. But we just did a video of this place in Italy, in Tuscany, called Villa Petriolo. And you have to watch it. It's it's the first ever certified 100-year lifestyle resort. They're 100% organic. It's 100% sustainable, 100% recycling. And then I titled the video, I said, when sustainability and luxury fall in love. So it's Villa Petriolo, where sustainability and luxury fall in love. And it's amazing. And it's seamless. It's seamless. And so, I look at that and it's like, why not here? Why not us? Why not now? And why not take an interest in it? And why not make a difference in whatever area that you want to? And that's really what the lifelong learning, the environment, all of that is all about. And then there's social circles. Important. So I got to tell you, Dr. Janet, Dr. Jean, all of you here in the back are supporters, vendors, friends. This is a special community. This is a circle. You should do this more. We could do a whole day, 8 hours of this if anybody would want to do that, and we'd work through the stuff. We'd work through everything. And that would be fun. And you are a community. It's a special community. And taking care of each other is really, really, really important. And social networks are vital for healthy longevity. They are vital for healthy longevity. And you're going to see a lot of, there's almost nothing here that I sold you here except for education and learning. You're going to be sold, there is a healthy longevity revolution right now happening. And they're going to try to sell you every product under the sun. And there is no product or technology that can compete with your innate intelligence. There is no product or technology that can compete with your own innate intelligence if you learn to listen to it, trust it, nurture it, and feed it. And then there's time. You have more than you thought. Why not make the most of it? There's a whole time management strategy in the 100-Year Lifestyle. There's, in our world, retirement is an outdated concept. I saw so many people in my world that I know and love that were really sharp, smart people. They retired, got sick, and died. And before they died physically, they died spiritually. Purpose matters. And then there's finances. If you're going to live longer than you thought, you're going to need more than you thought. So get back to doing the things that you love. Put your wisdom to work and make a difference. It'll feed your spirit. It'll feed your soul. And you won't be worried all the time about what you do and what you spend. And then lastly, there's leadership. There's leadership. We talk a lot about climbing the leadership ladder. And while I'm doing this, because I'm going to wind down soon, there's a poem towards the end, the last 4 slides. So the fourth to the last, I'm going to read that poem to end. It's the Purposeful Willing poem. So then there's leadership, and there's climbing the leadership ladder. And the leadership ladder is very simple. It's personal leadership, professional leadership, community leadership, and global leadership. And I love the kids when they learn this, and they start to, at a very young age in schools, when they start to learn this, they talk about it in their house, and they start to talk about the leadership ladder. It's relevant. It's very relevant because for everybody, it starts with personal leadership, personal responsibility, and personal choices. So you have personal leadership, and then there's professional leadership, how you apply it to your school, to your career, to whatever it is that's meaningful to you in work, in your professional life. And then there's community leadership, and that's involving yourself in the community with that leadership. And then there's global leadership, and we all do it individually. And we also bring it to the world and our communities. We impact the globe. We do. And what's been amazing is to see people take this journey, climbing the leadership ladder. They take this journey and how their life changes, their family changes, their finances change, their health changes, their energy changes, their happiness changes, and they truly begin to enjoy a sensational century. So what I'm going to do now, and then after we close, I'm happy to take some questions if you want to. And I'll also, if you have books, I'm happy to sign books. If you get the Healthy Longevity Package, I'll sign those for you as well. So I'm going to read you this poem. And so I wrote this poem when I was in a really tough spot. I was a little lost, didn't know what I wanted to do. I was actually exhausted is what it was. I had just done 2 world tours, speaking all over. I was in Australia, I made like a 3-day trip to Australia from Atlanta. That's insane. Don't do that. It takes 3 days to get there, 3 days to come back. It was a 3-day trip. Figure that out, okay? I was there for like an hour, less than a day. But it was fun. I just was exhausted. But it's funny because it's not really funny, but when you're really tired, when you're sleep deprived, that's dangerous. I said to my wife, I said, if I ever get like that again, just tell me to go to sleep because I'm not suicidal, I'm just tired. And so I wrote this poem after I got a little sleep, and it meant a lot to me. It's changed a lot of people's lives. It's on 100yearlifestyle.com for those of you that want to hang it up if it's meaningful to you. But it talks about leadership and what it takes to really break through and to really live in a way that is purposeful and meaningful, and everybody can do it. So go to the next slide. So it's called The Purposeful Willing, and it goes like this. By the way, before I read this, has this been a good session? Have you had as much fun as me, by the way? You have been so generous with your spirit. Thank you so much. Here's to the purposeful willing, for embracing a life that is thrilling, for directing their spirit to winning, who are not afraid of beginning. Here's to the purposeful willing, for giving their all to a cause, for plowing without the applause, who balance their life with a pause. And here's to the purposeful willing, for stepping out of the mold, for enduring the heat and the cold, who are not afraid to be bold. So for the kids out there, even the big ones and the older ones, for plowing without the applause. Life is not about social media likes. It's about plowing, doing the work without seeking the applause. You do the work, plowing without the applause. And here's to the purposeful willing, for stepping up, Here's to the purposeful willing, for putting their ego aside, for turning the unturnable tide, who persist when others subside. Here's to the purposeful willing, for going against the grain, for learning from all of the pain, who commit and recommit to the gain. And here's to the purposeful willing, for mastering their craft every day, for the price they are willing to pay, who work hard to change the world's way. It's going against the grain, learning from the pain, not being paralyzed by the pain, learning from the pain. Next. Here's to the purposeful willing, for making it not about you, for walking in another one's shoe, who team up for a mission that's true. Here's to the purposeful willing, for letting go of the past, for building a future that lasts, whose influence in the present is vast. And here's to the purposeful willing, for riding the up and the down, for laughing in the face of the clown, who serve every person in town. For the kids in here, listen up, seriously. There are so many clowns out there. There's so many clowns out there. You have to be willing to laugh in the face of the clown, to stand up for what you believe in and not be seduced by the clown. Do you understand that? You have to be willing to laugh in the face of the clown. So important. And finally, here's to the purposeful willing, for humbly taking the lead, for planting and feeding the seed, who care for the people in need. Here's to the purposeful willing, for keeping perspective that's real, for knowing the source that will heal, who pay homage by taking a kneel. And here's to the purposeful willing, for stepping up to the plate, for honoring that something innate, who are not afraid to be great. My friends, my new friends, my lifelong friends in Cedar Rapids, I love you. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming here tonight and for being a part of this special evening. Thank you. And thank Janet and Jean.
Amazing. Thank you. Do you want to take a couple questions?
I do want to take a couple of questions, but I have to get some. I have a surprise. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. I have a surprise. Don't go anywhere. I have a surprise. And then I'll take questions. Okay, so this is a massive surprise for my good friends who put this together. They have no idea this is coming. Now she's getting nervous. I don't know about him. So I'm going to start with Dr. Janet, ladies first. So in our world of the 100-Year Lifestyle and our company, the Family Practice, we train a lot of doctors. We've trained over 12,000 doctors around the world. And there was a time that I was giving special awards to people who, above all others, did amazing work above and beyond to make a difference in their community. So we haven't given this award for a while, but I'm going to give this tonight. So this is the 100-Year Lifestyle 2025 Chiropractor of the Year. It says, to Dr. Janet Kuehl, recognizing your extraordinary leadership in the community and chiropractic profession, your efforts are making a significant difference.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Jean, will you join us up here? So this is the first ever 100-Year Lifestyle Lifetime Achievement Award. Now, don't misinterpret this award. I got a Lifetime Achievement Award, and I thought it's because they were trying to get rid of me. Okay? We don't want you to go anywhere. We want you to stick around for a while. So this says 2025 Lifetime Achievement Award, Dr. Jean Kretzinger, recognizing over 50 years of dedicated service to the health of your community and the chiropractic profession. Your efforts have made and will continue to make a significant difference for generations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Questions?
We have time probably for a couple and then sign some books. And,
Yep.
yeah.
Perfect. Here, take.
Yes.
Jean.
Gee, I'll
Okay.
get that. Does anyone have a question that they'd like to ask Dr. Plasker? Yes.
So I have a question, and it has to do,
Yes.
so it has to do, because I didn't fully vaccinate all my kids. But how do you respond to when they come at you, well, it's herd immunity. If all our kids weren't vaccinated, your kid would probably get sick.
Wait, say that one more time.
If you don't vaccinate and you're sending your kids to school, right, you gotta go through all that rigmarole. But the feedback I get from parents who vaccinate is that they are protecting my kid because they vaccinated. So my kid is benefiting from herd immunity. And so, you know what I mean? I didn't fully vaccinate, I did DPT.
Right. So first of all, there is no evidence anywhere in the world. There's no study that shows any herd immunity from vaccines anywhere. There's no study that shows, like, for example, with COVID, this is everywhere now. They used to say, well, I'm getting my shot to protect you. Well, and then they came out and said, and it is completely proven to be that that's not true. So tell them to do some homework, find the research that supports what you're saying, and bring it to me, and I'll look at it, and I want you to be willing to look at the research too. Because never in a million years would I do that to my child.
And then what about those of us that didn't get fully vaccinated, we were little, old, and we got chicken pox, and now every time you walk in the doctor's office, it's like they got the shot for shingles, and you're like, you know. So, and they're saying we're gonna get it. They're saying 100% you're gonna get shingles, and it's gonna get in your eyes, and you're gonna line.
Can I see the studies that show what you're saying to be true? There's none. There's none.
So there's no correlation between chicken pox in youth and shingles when you're old?
Maybe there is, but I haven't seen a study that isn't compelling enough to have me get chicken pox or not get a chicken pox vaccine. Yeah, so when you dig in, I'll tell you a great resource, the best vaccine resource. I have it here. The best vaccine resource, in my opinion, two of them I'm going to give you. TheHighwire.com, Del Bigtree, and his attorneys that sue the government and always win. His name is Aaron Siri. So the Highwire, Del Bigtree, and Aaron Siri. Next, the National Vaccine Information Center and Children's Health Defense, all three of those. There are no studies, none. They have been requested from the government, from NIH, from FDA, CDC. They cannot produce the studies. They do not exist. They were not done. It is propaganda. Yes.
You might want to let her know about Leonard Horowitz.
Leonard Horowitz, another resource.
So you decided to make a lifestyle change. You've lost 40 pounds. Congratulations.
No, I didn't. I eliminated the weight that wasn't mine.
So,
Exactly.
When you feel tempted, what do you fall back on to get back on track?
So I do get tempted because I'm a sugar addict. So I will occasionally, but I can stop myself midstream catch. So I don't have to eat all of it. I'll eat a piece or two, and it doesn't bother me. So I have a line in the sand, and I don't cross it. And if I ever do cross it, I get pissed off at myself, and then I get back on track. Anybody else? Questions? All right. Thank you, everybody, so much. Appreciate you.